You work hard. You show up. You do everything you were told to do. And yet, the money never seems to stay. The bills pile up. The savings don't grow. And somewhere in the back of your mind you wonder, why does it feel like everyone else is getting ahead except me? Here's what nobody tells you. It's not your income. It's not the economy. It's not even bad luck. It's your brain. And today, we're going to expose exactly how your own mind is sabotaging your financial future. And more importantly, what you can do to rewire it. This is The Money Prophets. Let's get into it. Neuroscientists, behavioral economists, and psychologists have spent decades studying why people stay poor. And what they've found will change the way you think about money forever. Because here's the cold hard truth. Wealth is not built in your bank account. It's built in your mind first. And until you fix what's happening between your ears, no raise, no side hustle, no investment strategy is going to save you. We're covering 6 mental traps that are silently destroying your wealth. And the science-backed way out of each one. Let's go. In 2013, a group of researchers at Princeton and Harvard ran one of the most important studies in behavioral economics. They took 2 groups of people, one group with plenty of financial resources, one group living paycheck to paycheck, and gave them cognitive tests. The results were shocking. People under financial stress performed significantly worse on IQ and impulse control tests. Not because they were less intelligent, but because financial stress consumed so much mental bandwidth that it literally left less brain power for everything else. The researchers called it the bandwidth tax. Think about it this way. Your brain is like a computer. When you're running too many programs, anxiety about rent, stress about credit card bills, fear of the future, you slow down. You can't think clearly. You make bad decisions. And here's where it gets really dark. When you're in a scarcity mindset, your brain actually focuses obsessively on what you lack, which causes you to make short-term decisions that hurt you long-term. You skip the $50 investment because you're focused. On today's stress, you spend $200 on something that makes you feel better right now because your brain is in survival mode. You avoid looking at your bank account because it triggers anxiety. So nothing ever changes. The scarcity mindset isn't a personality flaw. It's a neurological response to stress. But here's the shift. Wealthy people operate from what psychologists call an abundance mindset, the belief that resources, opportunities, and money can grow, that there's enough to go around, that today's situation is not a permanent condition, and that belief literally changes the decisions they make every single day. The first step out of scarcity? Audit your financial self-talk. Write down what you say to yourself about money every day. I can never afford anything. Money is always tight. Rich people are just lucky. Those thoughts are programming your behavior, and they need to be replaced. Here's a question for you. Would you rather have $100 today or $150 in 1 month? Most people, if they're being honest, would take the $100 now, even though waiting 30 days for $150 is literally a 50% return, something no stock market can guarantee. This is called present bias, and it's one of the most well-documented flaws in human psychology. Our brains evolved for immediate survival, food now, safety now, shelter now. The concept of future reward is a relatively new trick our prefrontal cortex has to override millions of years of wiring. And guess what? Most people let the ancient brain win. Present bias shows up everywhere in your finances. You spend the tax refund instead of investing it. You swipe the credit card because the pain of paying is delayed. You skip the gym membership that could save you $30,000 in medical costs decades from now. You don't start the retirement account because retirement feels like someone else's problem. Stanford researchers actually did a study where they showed people digitally aged photos of themselves, their wrinkled, gray-haired future self, and found that those people save significantly more money afterward. Why? Because making your future self real in your brain changes how you treat them. The fix: make the future present. Open a retirement account today, even if it's $20. Name it something meaningful. My Freedom Fund. Set up automatic transfers so your future self gets paid before your present self can spend it. Make the decision once so your brain doesn't have to fight it every month. The wealthy don't have more willpower. They've built systems that remove the decision entirely. You get a raise. Things should be getting better, right? But somehow, you're still broke at the end of every month. Welcome to lifestyle creep, the phenomenon where your spending rises to meet your income no matter how much that income grows. You make 40K, you spend 40K. You make 80K, you spend 80K. You make 120K, and somehow you still have nothing saved. You're just broke on a nicer level. Economists call this the hedonic treadmill, the human tendency to return to a baseline level of happiness regardless of what we gain. You buy the new car, you're excited for 2 months, then it just becomes your car. You move to the bigger apartment, and within 90 days it's just where you live. The rush fades, but the monthly payment doesn't. And here's what makes lifestyle creep so insidious. It happens gradually. Nobody wakes up and says, "I'm going to destroy my wealth today." It's the slightly nicer restaurant, the premium streaming bundle, the car payment you told yourself you could afford. Studies show the average American's expenses expand to fill 95–100% of their income across virtually every income bracket. The profits rule. Every time your income goes up, your savings rate goes up first, before your lifestyle does. If you get a $500 a month raise, put $300 of it on autopilot into investments before you ever see it. You'll adapt to the new normal just like you would have adapted to the higher spending, except this time, you're building an empire instead of a more expensive version of broke. Social media may be the single greatest wealth destruction tool you ever invented, not because of the time it wastes, but because of the comparison it triggers. Psychologist Leon Festinger identified social comparison theory in 1954, the idea that humans naturally evaluate themselves against others. It's hardwired into us. In tribal societies, knowing where you stood in the group was survival critical, but in 2025, your reference group is no longer your village of 150 people. It's 3.5 billion people on Instagram, including the top 0.1% who are posting their yachts, their Ferraris, and their Bali vacations. You're not comparing yourself to your neighbor anymore. You're comparing yourself to the highlight reel of the entire world, and it's triggering spending you cannot afford. Research from the Federal Reserve found that people who live in areas with higher income inequality, where they're constantly exposed to the wealthy honor, carry significantly more debt. The research even has a name for it: expenditure cascades. Seeing luxury spending at the top trickles down and pushes people at every income level to spend beyond their means, and it goes deeper than just peer pressure. Studies show that financial decisions made under social comparison pressure activate the same brain regions as physical pain avoidance. People aren't just choosing to keep up. Their brains are reacting to social exclusion as a threat. The fix: curate your environment ruthlessly. Unfollow accounts that make you feel behind. Start following people documenting their financial independence journey, not their material wins. Change your reference group to people building, not spending. Find your net worth in 12 months and track that number, not what car you're driving. The people posting the most are often the ones with the least in the bank. Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman proved something that should change everything about how you think about money. Losses feel twice as powerful as gains. The pain of losing $100 is psychologically equivalent to the pleasure of gaining $200. This is called loss aversion, and it is absolutely wrecking your financial future. Here's how it plays out. You don't start investing because you're afraid of losing money, even though inflation is guaranteeing you lose money by doing nothing. You keep cash in a savings account earning 0.5% interest while inflation runs at 3 to 4%, which means you're losing purchasing power every single year, just slowly enough that your brain doesn't register it as a loss. You sell your investments the second they go red, locking in losses and missing the recovery. You don't negotiate your salary because the risk of rejection feels worse than the guaranteed cost of staying underpaid. And maybe the biggest one, you don't start the business, the channel, the side hustle, because failure feels more real than success. Loss aversion kept our ancestors safe from physical danger. But in a financial world, it keeps you exactly where you are. The reframe. Start measuring the cost of inaction. What does it cost you to not invest for the next 10 years? Run the math. At a 10% average annual return, the S&P 500's historical average, $500 a month invested for 20 years grows to over $380,000. Not investing doesn't feel like a loss, but it absolutely is one. The wealthy don't avoid risk. They quantify it, manage it, and accept it as the price of growth. Here's the deepest level, the one most people never even examine. Financial psychologist Dr. Brad Klontz coined the term money scripts, the unconscious beliefs about money we develop in childhood that silently run our financial lives. As adults, these beliefs get formed before you're even old enough to understand money. You watch your parents fight about bills. You hear, "We can't afford that." You watch someone in your neighborhood get rich and hear adults call them corrupt or dishonest. You absorb messages from your culture, your religion, your community, all before you're 10 years old, and those scripts become your financial operating system. Some common money scripts and what they actually cost you. Money is the root of all evil. So you subconsciously self-sabotage when you start building wealth because deep down, you believe rich people are bad people, and you don't want to be bad. Rich people are just lucky. So you never develop financial skills because your brain has decided the outcome is random anyway. Talking about money is rude. So you never negotiate, never ask for raises, never learn from people doing better than you because it feels uncomfortable. You have to work hard for every dollar, so passive income, investing, and leverage feel like cheating, and you unconsciously resist them. Dr. Klontz's research found that people with negative money scripts earned significantly less, had less saved for retirement, and carried more credit card debt, not because of their circumstances, but because their beliefs were running their behavior on autopilot. The work. You have to excavate these beliefs, journal about your earliest money memories. What did you hear about rich people growing up? What did money represent in your household? Security, stress, conflict, power. Identify the script, challenge it, replace it with a belief that serves your future, not one that protected your family in the past. So let's bring it home. Your brain is not broken. It was built for survival in a world that no longer exists. The scarcity mindset kept your ancestors focused when resources were scarce. Present bias kept them alive in the moment. Loss aversion protected them from physical danger. Social comparison helped them stay connected to the tribe. But you're not living in that world. You're living in a world where the biggest threats to your future are invisible. Inflation, missed compounding, broken money beliefs, and decisions made from fear instead of strategy. The wealthy don't have different brains. They've just learned to run different software. 6 things you can start doing today. 1. Audit your money self-talk and replace scarcity language with possibility language. 2. Automate savings before you can spend them. Remove the decision. 3. Every income increase goes to savings first. Lifestyle second. 4. Curate what you consume. Your financial environment shapes your financial behavior. 5. Calculate the cost of not investing. Make inaction feel like the actual risk. 6. Journal your money scripts. Find the beliefs keeping you in place and burn them down. The mind that got you here is not the mind that gets you there. Start the rewire today. This is the Money Prophets. Subscribe. If you're building something real, we'll see you in the next one.